The gospel stories that we read on the Sundays after Easter are really interesting because they show us such a range of feelings and emotions and experiences among the disciples of Jesus in those days after he died. Pope Francis gave a talk about that recently, and he compared the disciples after Jesus was dead and buried to people today who feel burdened and oppressed, confused, just not knowing exactly what to do. When he gave his talk, the Pope said, "I have a plan for raising up humanity again." He said the disciples, in that period after the death and burial of Jesus, were in a time of pain and uncertainty. There was a great deal of pain because their friend, their mentor, their teacher, they had just seen him killed and buried. And now they were worried, what's going to happen to us? There was a great deal of uncertainty. The Pope used a phrase, the way they felt, who's going to roll the stone away? It's like we're caught in the tomb also. Who's going to free us? Who's going to roll the stone away? The Pope went on to say that many of us today experience those same feelings. Pain. Many people have lost their jobs, have had their lives totally disrupted, have been evicted from their apartments, or even worse, maybe have had the illness themselves or have seen friends or relatives die. And so they too have that pain and the anxiety. When is this going to end? What's going to happen? Will I get sick? What will it be like 6 months from now or a year from now? The Pope points out, though, the women who were with Jesus. They accompanied him throughout his public ministry. They were with him as he traveled around Galilee. They helped to provide for him when he needed places to stay, and I'm sure they were helping with food and things like that, making arrangements for him and his disciples as they went around. The women seemed to know what to do. The men, on the other hand, did not seem to know what to do. I'd like to show you a meme, a little picture that I saw recently. The man who posted this meme is Robert Ellsberg. He is the head of the Arbus publishing arm of Maryknoll. He's a good friend of mine. But what he was showing is that the men were locked together in the upper room, and they were frightened. What's going to happen to us? Will the Jewish leaders, will the Roman leaders come and do to us what they did to Jesus? And a bigger question, where is Jesus? Some of the women had come to them that morning and said that they had seen him, but they hadn't seen him, and so they didn't know what to do. And so they were filled with that fear and that uncertainty. But notice the women in these stories after Easter, they were not like that. As the meme said, while the men were hiding, the women had a plan. And so the men were in the upper room. The women were gathered that evening and saying, tomorrow we should go at dawn and we should anoint Jesus' body for burial. And what time should we leave? And do you have any of the oil? And do you have a towel that we could use? They were making plans to be with Jesus, to be present to him, even in his death. That had been their role while he was alive, and now they were going to be with him to prepare his body for burial. It was a ministry of presence. They didn't do anything spectacular, but they were simple, warm, human, loving women who wanted to be with Jesus in this special time. What a lot of the disciples discovered in those days after Easter is that no one is saved alone. We need to be with each other, to help each other, to accompany each other. Pope Francis said, we learn that Easter is a propitious time, an appropriate time, a special time for us to be open to the Spirit who comes to inspire us with a new imagination of what is possible. The women were present then with Jesus, and Jesus was present to them after his resurrection, and Jesus is present with us now. He leaves his Spirit with us. He comes to us to help us to be creative, to really learn the good news, and he inspires us through his Spirit to offer that good news to others. This presence that Jesus offers us, it's the Spirit who comes, and he makes us aware of the enormous and the urgent task that awaits us, to be present for others, especially now in this time of the pandemic. How can we be present for others to help them with their pain and their uncertainty, and for them to be present to us and to help us? It's become more difficult because we can't get together physically in groups, and so we're challenged, but the Spirit should be with us to help us to find new ways, new opportunities for being with each other, and new ways for being church for each other, to do liturgy together, new ways to pray, new ways just to be with each other. That's the challenge for us now. The Pope finished up his little reflection saying that now the entire human family, it's a time for us to search, to find new ways to be together, to find Jesus among us, to listen to his Spirit that's with us. We need to find the Spirit of Jesus and respond to that Spirit with a new faith, a new hope, and a new charity that really brings us together as God's people, as brothers and sisters in this very special time.